Don't make a sound. Please don't tell me now. I've got to stand my ground. I know I've got the
Welcome to Inside the WSL. Now, as we head into the international break, we'll be looking at one of the most competitive positions for the England team, which is, of course, the goalkeeping position. 4 goalies vying for 3 spots. We'll be discussing who could make the final cut. Also, as the end of the season draws nearer, we're still no closer to knowing who will top the table in 4 weeks' time. Will Chelsea win a 3rd league trophy in a row, or will Arsenal have the Blues seeing red to win a WSL for the first time in 3 years? Well, as for who will be joining them in the top tier next season, we know that will be Liverpool. They dominated all season, didn't they, to wrap up the championship with 2 games to spare. Look at the celebrations here after they beat Bristol City in front of a record crowd of just over 5,700 at Ashton Gate. Good to have Liverpool back in the top flight, isn't it? After 2 seasons away. I wonder how long those celebrations went on for. Let's find out. We can ask the manager himself, Matt Beard, who joins us on the show, alongside former England and Liverpool goalkeeper Siobhan Chamberlain. Great to see you both. Matt, are you still celebrating?
No, we're settled back down now. We've had 12 players go on international duty. 3 went straight from the game, and then the rest flew out to their respective countries on Monday. But no, it was a good day, and it was good to get the league tying up before the international break. Yeah,
okay, so back down to earth straight away. You got the trophy lift coming up at Prenton Park in a couple of weeks. I've seen that Niamh Fahy said she's going to lift the trophy and do the little Hendo shuffle. Have you got any dance moves planned when you lift the trophy?
No, I can't dance.
You got time to think about it, perhaps. You got time to think about it. It was great to see those celebrations, but also, Matt, great to see that you've got the support of your fellow Liverpool manager, Jurgen Klopp. Real recognise real, I say.
Sent messages yesterday. I was really happy. I was following it down all the time. I was looking at the results always after our games, around our games, looking when they play, who they play. Last week, obviously, when after the result from last week, it was clear they, with a draw against Bristol, they can make it, and they won. Really happy for the girls and for Matt. It's a big thing. And I met a lot of the girls in the last 2-3 months for different reasons. Wonderful, we did wonderful stuff together with Michaela for LGBT, which was really great. And then I spoke to others. It's really nice. To be honest, that's a wonderful team, great coach, and really happy for them to get promoted.
Good to have that support, Matt. How much time do you get to spend with Jurgen, share ideas, talk tactics?
Pretty much. Well, obviously we work at different venues, but Jurgen's been very supportive of myself and the team, and obviously meeting Michaela, and then with Fernie with her award for Northern Ireland. So yeah, everyone at the club's been really supportive.
Good to hear. Siobhan, I think you were listening to that clip and found part of that interesting as well.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that it's great to see that the club are supporting the women's team, and it should be that way, because it's not just a women's team and a men's team. It's one football club, and I think I made no secret when I left Liverpool, and I think other players were frustrated in the way that the club was progressing. And I think it had to happen. It had to see the frustrations, and then they put things right. You can see that the way things have changed, the way that Jurgen Klopp's talking about the women's side, that there's recognition there, and there needs to be that combination of the men's club and the women's club all uniting together as one. And we've seen it in other teams across the WSL. That's how it works and how it's most successful. And it's really good to see the progress. And Matt, have you seen a difference this season, this stint back, compared to when you were there before?
The game's moved on so much since I was here before, anyway. But I can only talk about obviously my time here since I've been back, and the club have been so supportive right the way across the board. And we've got a good setup where we are. We've got a good team, and we just making a step up is going to be tough. It's going to be. You look at the teams that have gone up from the Championship. It's not been plain sailing for them. So there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, well, you still have got a job to do. You've still got 2 games left of this season to play, Matt, starting with Sheffield United on the 24th. But just looking at the table, you really did dominate this season. Just that one defeat on the opening match of the season. You're 14 points ahead. What do you put this season's success down to?
Look, everyone has worked hard on the training pitch. All the staff have worked tirelessly behind the scenes. We have a talented group of players here, and we've just, especially second half of the season, just taken it one game at a time. The first half of the season we put it into blocks and we mapped out, how we wanted to get to where we wanted to be, and so there's a lot of hard work. The competition for places has been fantastic, and the respect levels between the players, especially when a run like you're on, it's difficult for players that aren't playing, but the standards in training every day have been absolutely spot on.
You've only conceded 8 league goals all season. I'm going to be ultra competitive here and say that when we got promoted with Manchester United, we only conceded 7. But regardless of numbers, it's a fantastic achievement to keep so many clean sheets, not concede many goals. Is that something you put your success down to, and something that you work on day in, day out?
Yeah, if you don't concede goals, then you've got a chance of winning games, right? So, but no, we as I said, right the way across the board, Potsy's done a great job with Lawsy and Katie when she was here, and Riley, and now Clarkey. We do a lot of work regarding to our structure. We revisit a lot of our fundamentals, of the game, both defending and attacking, which has helped. And the set plays have been a big part of our game in the last sort of 2 months or so as well. But no, we work hard on the training pitch, to stop set plays, to stop crosses going in the box, because a lot of goals come from transitional moments, set plays and crosses. So, we work hard at that on the training pitch.
When you talk about set plays, I think you can't look much further than Megan Campbell and that long throw. I think every single goalkeeper in the WSL next season is going to be absolutely dreading playing against her.
It's funny. Everyone will go to Meg's throws. Meg's a very talented player, and I'm just delighted that her injury woes are over and she's back playing. But look, we've scored 3 in the last 2 games off the back of the throw. If you throw in the Watford game as well, that's 4. But as I said, we've worked hard on our set plays this year, and I think 9 goals out the last 10 have come from set plays.
Wow, that's a stat and a half. Matt, looking to the future, you've got a few players with WSL experience already, Niamh Fahy, Rachel Laws, of course, as well, and Rachel Furness. But how WSL ready is your current team, do you think?
I think the team's ready. I think we've got a lot of players that have played in the division. Obviously, we'll improve the squad in the summer. But when we played Tottenham, it was a close game, and when we played Arsenal, I felt we were competitive for large chunks of that game. And I feel, on that day there was a McCabe's Weldy and Ford's Weldy, and apart from that, it was little moments where you play against them top teams where you get punished. And I think as we progress as a club and as a team, I think we can be competitive in the WSL. I know the division inside out. It's not going to be easy. I said it post-game Sunday. Villa, Leicester both gone up, both struggled, to adapt from Championship to WSL. But look, we'll keep our feet on the ground as we always do, and we'll approach it like we've approached this season.
There's so much talent in the WSL on the pitch at the moment. It steps up a level season in, season out. But it's not just the talent on the pitch that's improved. Managerially, there's such good managers in the WSL now. How much are you looking forward to pitting yourself and your tactical brain against those managers that are in the WSL at the moment?
Yeah, no, I'm going to be competing, or we're going to be competing with, the best managers, not only in our league, but in the world. So, look, I'll always work as I work, prepare the team as best we can. It's going to be a lot tougher. This year we've had to deal with a lot of teams sitting off us and blocks and working different ways out of trying to beat them. Our strategies may change, as we make the step up against the better players, but we'll approach everything the way that I've always approached things. And as I said, we just want to be as competitive as we can in the division.
It's been really good to chat with you, Matt. Congratulations again for wrapping up the title. You made it look easy, didn't you, for large parts of the season? And don't forget, you've still got a couple of weeks to think of your dance moves for that trophy lift at Prenton Park.
All right, thanks.
Speak to you soon. Thanks for coming on Inside the WSL. Shiv, don't go anywhere, because next we're going to be talking all things goalkeepers as we look at how competitive the number 1 shirt has become for England ahead of the Euros. That's next. Welcome back to Inside the WSL. Siobhan Chamberlain still alongside me. And now, Shiv, this is the moment that you have been waiting for. Goalkeeper chat. I know you don't get to do it very often, as hard as you might try. And now it's been a season where goalkeepers have had more scrutiny on them than ever before. But also, I think one of the first seasons where competition for places has been really, really high as well. And now with it being the international break, I thought let's just take a look at those vying to be England's at number 1. You've got Mary Earps, of course, at Manchester United, Ellie Roebuck at Man City, Hannah Hampton, who plays at Villa, and Everton's Sandy Mckeever as well. For you, Shiv, is this the most competitive period England have ever had in terms of goalkeepers?
I think it's definitely the closest it's been, and where nobody's really been able to make that call of saying, yeah, she's definitely going to be the out-and-out number 1 for the Euros. I don't think anyone knows the answer to that question just yet. And that makes it exciting. I think everyone wants to have that uncertainty. Everyone loves having their opinions, especially on goalkeepers. So yeah, it'd be really interesting to see how the next few months unfold, and hopefully everyone stays fit, so it gives that competition that little extra edge.
Yeah, I mean, every goalkeeper that I mentioned there brings a different quality to this England side. Let's look at Mary Earps, because she seems to be the first choice, at least at the moment. She's pulled off some incredible saves this season. What do you think her strengths are?
As you said, she's pulled off some incredible saves. I think for me, consistency has been really good with Mary this season. She's made a fantastic save there from Miedema. She's done it week in, week out, and she's helped Manchester United keep numerous clean sheets, which has helped them climb up the table. She's confident, she's aggressive, and she's assertive. And I think that gives your back line that extra bit of confidence. When you know that your goalkeeper's behind you, you know what they're going to do, you can trust them. And you know that sometimes if you need that kick up the bum, that they're going to be there to give it to you. Sometimes it keeps you on edge as well, and makes you perform that little bit more. And I think for me, Mary's had the most consistent season she's ever had, and she's definitely in the form of her life.
Yeah, I think that's worked against our next goalkeeper, Ellie Roebuck at Manchester City, who struggled with injury for most of the season. But of course, she does have big tournament experience in that she was the first choice goalkeeper for Team GB at the Olympics. What do you rate her chances as?
Oh, she was number 1 at the Olympics, and I think that's invaluable experience, especially in tournament football, in a European Championships at home, under pressure with huge crowds. If you've got someone that's played in those kind of games before, it does give them that little extra edge. And I think I was counting the caps before, and there's 24 caps between the 3 of the goalkeepers that are on this that have been selected for this camp at the moment. That's not a lot of experience at all. So having that added experience of being number 1 at a major tournament could end up being key. And added to that, she's really good distributor. She plays out from the back with such confidence, such ability. She finds passes, she plays her way out of trouble. And looking at the way that Serena has been trying to play, that's the way that England also want to play. So she could be a real asset from that point.
And what about Hannah Hampton? She's had a breakthrough season, hasn't she?
She has. She's been brilliant. I've been really impressed with Hannah Hampton. She's still very young, and I know people say if you're good enough, you're old enough. But I think for me, she just needs a little bit more experience, exposure to those top games, those games when you're under pressure, and kind of developing that mental side of the game that as a goalkeeper, you're going to make mistakes. It's how you deal with them, and dealing with them in an empty stadium when you're making save after save is a little bit easier than in front of 50,000-60,000 people at European Championships when all eyes are on you. So I think it might take her a little bit of time, but she's definitely one to watch for the next few years for England, because, yeah, as I said, I've been really, really impressed with her. And you can see from all of those saves there that she is incredibly athletic and agile.
She really is. She plays with a smile on her face as well. And now Sandy Mckeever is the fourth and final choice. She's not with the seniors this week for the international break. She's actually with the under-23s, but you can't sleep on her because she's impressed as well this season.
She has. I mean, her and Ellie Roebuck came through the youth age groups together, and Sandy Mckeever was actually number one for the under-20s when they went to the World Cup. She was ahead of Ellie Roebuck, but Ellie stepped up a level in that period, and she's definitely gone ahead of her. But for Sandy, I think it's been a really frustrating season. I think Everton have really struggled. I think you look at the whole Everton squad, none of them have really performed to the level that you'd expect them to be at. So she probably is frustrated by that, but I'm sure she can probably understand the fact that she's not within that top three at the moment. But you know how injuries happen. There's no saying that all of those three goalkeepers that are away at the moment are going to make it to those European Championships. And if they don't, then I'm sure Sandy Mckeever will be the next one on the plane. And you never know what happens, and you need to keep your eye on the ball and make sure that you're focusing on yourself and keeping yourself as fit and as good as you can.
You're right. You never know what's going to happen. But I'm going to ask you anyway, Shiv. If you look at the form of all four of those goalkeepers, who is your Euros number one?
My Euros number one. Well, I think that Serena will go with Mary Earps. I think she's had the most minutes this season, the most consistency. She's given her big game exposure. It'll be really interesting coming into the two big friendlies in the lead up to the European Championships, who she actually goes with, whether she sticks with one keeper. Because I think for me, a lot of people have spoken about how positive it is, the fact that there's such competition for this goalkeeper position. I think for me, I can look at it from a slightly different perspective as, is it better to have an out-and-out number one that's got good experience, played in major tournaments before? If you've got two goalkeepers, three goalkeepers that are all going into this tournament expecting, hoping to be that number one, how does that change the dynamic when a couple of days before the tournament, one player is that number one, there's only one player playing? And it's how that dynamic in that goalkeeper union can stay strong and can help to support each other. So it'll be a really interesting few months to see how it all develops.
It's actually been an area of contention for Chelsea, who are currently the league leaders in the WSL. They've overtaken Arsenal, finally, just by a point, but they are level on games played, finally. So Chelsea, the Hunters, have now become the hunted. To be honest with you, Shiv, I'm pretty much done making predictions this season because I've got it wrong all the way through the season so far. But, you know, looking at Chelsea's running, looking at Arsenal's running, it's in Chelsea's hands. Simply winning every game means they win their third WSL title in a row. Can you see them dropping points and Arsenal winning all their games? Bearing in mind, Chelsea have got 2 Spurs games, Birmingham and Manchester United at the end of the season.
I think, as you said, the fact that it's in Chelsea's hands makes it so much more of an advantage to them. They don't have to worry about anybody else. They don't have to look behind their back at who might be catching them. They just need to go out there and put on the performances, get the 3 points, go home and then do exactly the same again the next week. And I think you look at the results that they've had recently, it's not just the goals that they've been scoring and the games that they've been winning. They've been keeping clean sheets. I think is it 7 in a row that they haven't conceded. They very rarely concede at home, and that kind of mentality that it gives the opposition when you turn up to play against a team that doesn't concede any goals is really difficult. So for me, I can't see Chelsea dropping any points. I think the last game of the season against Manchester United is undoubtedly going to be their most difficult. But Chelsea always seem to step it up a level against United. And with so much riding on that game with the title and also Champions League qualification, it's going to be a really, really exciting game to watch.
So a thrilling end to the WSL season on the way, but also a really exciting start of the season for one of Siobhan's former bosses, former Manchester United boss, Casey Stoney, has been talking to us about life on the west coast of America. She's with new club now, San Diego Wave, and she's had a chat with Caroline Barker.
Casey Stoney, welcome back to Sky Sports. It's been a while since you've been here last. You've got a new top on, a new club in charge of, and you're in the midst of the Challenge Cup. How is it? How are you enjoying life in America?
Yeah, huge transition, not just in terms of the football, but culturally too. Everything's so different. You know, I've only stopped, leaning over this shoulder to try and get my seatbelt. So yeah, lots of different things. But listen, what an incredible place to do the job you love. One of the most amazing places I've ever been to. The sun's out every day. The players that I work with are incredible. And I think we're building something really special here.
What's the aim this season? What's your goal?
Yeah, I'm quite realistic with our goal. People don't expect anything of expansion teams. They kind of let them, go and play now. My expectations are different. I want us to be competitive from the off. I think we've got a good squad of players. The difference is we're 9 weeks in and we're learning, and I was really proud of the team when we played Portland. We lost 1-0, but actually I thought we controlled the game for large periods. We just couldn't get a goal. So, some of these teams have been established, irrelevant of the fact they've changed managers. They've been established. They've got connections on the pitch and relationships we're still building. But, I think if we can be competitive and we can get in and around those playoffs by the end of the season, then we would have had a very successful first year.
Just on the players and building trust, we've seen allegations over the past couple of seasons with regard to various things within the league. I know there's a new chief exec come in. Has that been one of the things that the players have wanted to talk openly about, sort of the backdrop to the league, what it's been like?
Yeah, and I think I create a really open and honest environment, and some of their stories horrify me. I was a player for so many years, and the way that they are taught that's coaching over here, it's not. I believe in open, honest, yes, challenge, but support, and development is about supporting them, stretching them, guiding them. It's not about screaming and shouting at them and hurling abuse and using days off as threats and stuff like that. And they're all the challenges they've faced over here. And that's something that I want to show them. You can still do well and you can still win without doing it that way, So we are early. We're newborns in terms of our team and what we're trying to build. But I want to know their experiences. I've spent 9 weeks listening because I want to hear about everything that they've experienced, and I want to show them every single day that it can be different.
I love this fresh start for you, for the players, for the league. And it feels like there's a little bit of a momentum shift at the moment in women's football. We've seen your first couple of games sold out at home, which is phenomenal for San Diego Wave and a new team. The Barcelona crowd over the last couple of weeks, Manchester United back at Old Trafford. Do you feel like there's a shift at the moment?
Yeah, listen, it's not just about empowerment. People are going to the games because they want to see the games. And, I looked at that Barcelona crowd and it was good for my soul. I've been in the game for so many years and been told so many times that people are not interested in women's football. That's all I get. And the minute you raise your head on social media, you get the same thing. And I'm like, well, 91,000 people disagree with you. And you look at the PSG crowd too, and you're looking at these huge crowds and people generally have an interest. And what an incredible opportunity England has in the Euros this year now with that momentum. If they can go and be successful, it could be a really big turning point for the women's game in England.
Yeah, great to hear from Casey Stoney there. And Shiv, I think it does feel like the game is perhaps going through another period of growth. I mean, absolute scenes at the new camp. 91,000 fans is just spectacular. Could you, imagine playing in front of a crowd like that when you were playing? How big is this? How big of an achievement is this?
Oh, it's huge, and I think it was an unbelievable game to match the crowd as well. I think that's always the thing. You need to have the product on the pitch to make it worth going to watch and to make people go back again. And whenever you watch Barcelona play, you know you want to go back and watch them again. They're an absolutely unbelievably brilliant side to watch. But yeah, to see the crowds, as Casey mentioned as well, at PSG, Wolfsburg. I think Arsenal had a big crowd expected for their game against Tottenham at the Emirates that unfortunately got cancelled. But there's big stadiums that are being filled now with women's football matches and with fans that are coming back time and time again. And I think that's the important thing, is the consistency. Can we keep this going? It's not just about a one-off game. It's about, what about the next game? How do we build from there? And you look at Barcelona, their semi-final against Wolfsburg, they sold out again within 24 hours. And that's just unbelievable. And it's such an exciting time for women's football at the moment.
Shiv, it's been great to see you. As for Inside the WSL, that's all we got time for this week. Of course, we'll be back next week. But in the meantime, you can keep in touch with us, as you always can, all on the interweb. We've got social media. We're on Twitter. You'll find us on the Sky Sports Football YouTube channel as well, and at skysports.com. And actually on Twitter, there's a really good Q&A going around with Chelsea's Beth England. So you tuck into that. We'll see you next Thursday. Take care.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.